Hello, everyone, and welcome. It is I, Bex, Commissioner of the International Simulation Football League, here once again for a phenomenal awards presentation for our 25th season as a league. I am joined by a whole host of fun characters, and I'll let them introduce themselves now.
Hi, my name's Faded. I am a new person here on the various streams. I am Nicholas Ayers in Honolulu as one of their two running backs. I am in DSFL HO, and I'm kind of just all around the league.
Hello, I am Frostbite. I am the Sarasota GM, and I also am a running back. That's irrelevant.
It's running back night here, actually, thinking about it. That's hilarious. I'm also running back for those of you who don't know.
Because running backs are cool.
Yes.
Stepping up to block for those running backs is me, Glims TC, Felix Arkstone, the offensive lineman and then the GM of the Kansas City Coyotes. Hi.
I'm Hotspur. I'm just here for reasons. Also, I'm a linebacker for the Honolulu Lua. Oh God.
Awesome. And I am.
Linebackers are basically the running backs of the defense, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
I've decided this
True.
is an analogy.
Yeah. And I'm JPEG. I'm useless, and Infinite is here in the chat to watch me screw
Hi.
up.
I'm here too.
I push the button.
You'll never see me again.
Technically, I am on the New Orleans second line as a safety who plays Nickelback.
Best Nickelback.
What's it like having a team?
Yes, indeed. Alrighty, so yeah, like I said, we're here for awards night. We're going to start with our wonderful awards for the DSFL. Excited to celebrate the developing players in the league. And we're going to jump straight in here with Returner of the Year. We have our nominees here of the London Royals, Darren Palma of the Portland Pythons, Mark Callis of the Dallas Bird Dogs, and Derek Wildstar of the Kansas City Coyotes. So, ideally, someone has stats and opinions pulled up. So let's jump in. Who are we thinking here for Returner of the Year?
So personally, I am thinking this award will go to Mark Callis. He has the most punt return yards this season. I'm sorry, kick return yards this season at 715. He has one TD on the kick return and he has one TD on the punt return, but most, if actually all of the returners who are being nominated do have a punt return, so good for them. But I do believe that Mark Callis edges over them just a little bit.
I feel like there's some really good people for this award. Callis and Yaki being the probably the top two, if I'm looking at this right. Yes, I am. I personally, biased, but think Wildstar has a really good shot at it, mostly because he's he's been a returner for easily less games than all of these guys, but in that short amount of time, put up 2 punt return touchdowns, 69-yard longest return, and just some really impressive stats for someone who's hasn't really been in the role that long.
Interesting. Alrighty, well, let's cut the suspense and just see who we're sending home with this award tonight. And it's going to be Mark Callis. I love this render. Absolutely beautiful. I don't know who did the renders work for awards this year, but I
Hamid
love them.
Ships did DSFL and MN Musi did ISFL, and they did wonderful jobs. I just wanted to put that in. I totally forgot.
Yes, perfect. Thank you to all of our folks who do graphics for the streams, both during the season and in our off-season events. Phenomenal. We'll jump in here then with Punter of the Year next. Our 3 nominees here are Gluteus Maximus, Something McDirtpants, and Leo Bloomfield. Excellent names going on in the punter category this year.
Of course. So, Leo Bloomfield is the only person who has a 100% stat in their stat line. He has 34 for 34 extra points. But
Faded. This is punting, not kicking.
Oh, punting. Oh, that's my bad. Okay, well, in that case, I might give it to Gluteus because he has the most punt yards. He's middle of the row when it comes to averaging. But he does have 15 inside the 20, so good for him. And I think it's his to lose, personally.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you there. Even in like these small drops that Maximus has under Bloomfield, I don't think it's enough to say that he doesn't get the award here. But both were really consistent all throughout, and McDurpants wasn't too bad either.
Well, I'm gonna say that Bloomfield should win this one because he averages almost 2 full yards more than Maximus, and his longest is also 6 more yards, and he's Myrtle Beach
Mm-hmm.
or Bondi Beach, I guess now.
Yes.
No bias. Indeed. Alrighty. Well, let's just
No
see
bias, no bias.
And it's going to Gluteus Maximus.
That is an incredible render.
Won by
very-
one vote. Super.
very,
by
close.
one
very
vote.
close.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Definitely a close race.
Is that rendered?
Mhm.
Man.
It's good. It's a good one.
He
That
lives
is
up
my-
to the. He definitely lives up to the name.
That's my
Yes.
spirit animal person thing.
Awesome. Congrats
Excellent.
to the glute.
Yes, indeed. This will bring us to Kicker of the Year, which is the same nominees, Leo Bloomfield, Gluteus Maximus, and Something McDurpants. So how are we looking for kicking specifically?
Okay, so now I can actually talk about kicking. So, like I said, Leo Bloomfield is the only person who has 100% stat in their stat line with 34 for 34 extra points. But he does have the worst percentage. He's only made 26 out of 30 field goals, which is 86.7% compared to other people's.
Personally, like, despite the 100% for extra points, I kind of have to give it to McDurpants, mostly because only 2 missed field goals out of 23 attempts, and then only 1 missed extra point out of 31. For the most part, that's automatic, no matter what, and a 50-yard longest, which isn't too shabby. London didn't really need to kick much this year, but when they did, it was pretty much sailing right in, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Bloomfield as well to add on to Faded because Faded gave the good stats, but he didn't give the best stat, which was that Bloomfield made a 57-yarder to win the game.
That is true.
Ooh,
It's
the
pretty good.
story.
The story behind it.
Mhm. And it does go to
Kick
Bloomfield
for
by
the-
1 point once
One
again.
Yay,
vote
another
again.
one.
Wow.
I would like to correct Frost. It's not Bondi Beach. It is Bondi Beach. I was
Ooh.
informed by our
Oh,
resident New Zealand expert.
isn't it
no.
Australia?
Yes.
Okay. Another one here though, won by a point, which is fascinating.
Yeah, kicking was hotly contested this year by the active people.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who are new, I'm sorry, I completely forgot to explain how the voting works. Voting body is made up of GMs and head office, and they're given a list of nominees from the awards committee. They go through, vote. It's a ranked voting system, so there's a point total for placing someone first in your ranking, second and third, and so the point total is a culmination of all of those tallies. That was a horrible explanation, but we're going to continue with Safety of the Year. Our nominees here are Tony Yeboah, Teddy Uderstrusen? I don't know. Damian Blackfire, Stephen Wadham, and Mo Skeeter.
So I've been really excited to talk about this one because we have 3 really amazing candidates for this. We've got Mo Skeeter, to say first, who scored 2 touchdowns, which is the only one out of this group to score any touchdowns at all. 4 interceptions. Damian Blackfire scored, who got 5 interceptions and had a block punt, which secured Minnesota going into the playoffs. And then Yeboah, who's the only safety of 11 sacks, only one to get over 10 sacks out of the group. So really efficient by all 3 of them. Like, it really comes down to which stat you prefer the most here, I feel.
I mean, you have to go for blocked punts because, come on,
Yeah.
they're a unicorn.
Personally,
So that's
I
why
might
Teddy
go with
Uderstrusen's winning.
yeah.
Also,
So personally, I might go with Blackfire because he has lots of flashy stats to deal with, such as his blocked punt. He has 3 forced fumbles, which is frankly mesmerizing. And yeah,
But don't we know that all awards voters choose touchdowns overall?
True.
There is always the touchdown bias.
So
but
we'll find out.
let's reveal our winner. And it is going to be Damian Blackfire.
Pretty
Very well
close too.
deserved.
Yeah.
Between him and Mo. 5
Yeah.
points.
even if you don't account for the flashy stats, this man has a Heisman story into this one. So good stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing. Alrighty. So bring us to cornerback of the year. We have our nominees here: James Hoffman, Byron Blackwell, Mikkel Van Perkins, and Peter Patterson.
Okay, so James Hoffman out of Myrtle Beach. He racked up 18 pass deflections, 4 interceptions, forced fumble, and is on top of the cornerbacks with 64 tackles. But I will say Byron Blackwell has 4 interceptions as well, 16 pass deflections, etc. And while Peter Patterson has the least tackles out of these 4, he does have a touchdown, which is something that everyone else does not. So I find that quite interesting personally.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm just gonna say the 2 stats and leave it be. Peter Patterson ties everyone at 4 interceptions, but he's the only one with the touchdown. Pay dirt. Easy award.
All right, since none of you all said it, James Hoffman has 2 sacks while also having the most pass deflections, which is pretty insane to me that you're able to get sacks while also playing outside corner.
Forced
Also,
fumble as well.
he has
So-
the 4 ints everyone else has, so he's my guy.
Okay. Well, let's see if you're right. It's going to James Hoffman by a little bit of a gap here.
Yeah, I mean it's still well deserved. Absolutely. Hoffman was very dominant as a cornerback this year.
Mm-hmm.
Not dominant enough, am I right? Haha, Tijuana forever.
This will move us into linebacker of the year. Our nominees here are Legacy Perfect, Richard Lee King, Vincent Jones, and Thomas Rose.
Sorry, just analyzing. But I got a bat for my boy Thomas Rose here. He had an absolute career year. 9 sacks, 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 7 pass deflections, and 114 tackles, with 8 of them being a tackle for loss. He played out of his mind this season.
I will say that Legacy Burfict does lead the linebackers with 11 sacks, and while he doesn't have as many interceptions as Rose or Leaking, he does have the most pass deflections.
I have to say something about Richard Leaking because he crushed the Dallas tackle record this year, like the season
Mhm.
tackle record with 152 tackles, like
Yeah, that is
obliterated it
insane.
completely. While the rest of his stats aren't as good as some of the others regarding sacks and so on, he crushed that record. And he's been all over the field tackling like a madman.
Yeah, and I will give it to Richard as well. If we're going off of more storyline stuff, I'd say that when it came down to certain game situations, no one was more reliable on the field than him, arguably.
Shout
Just
out
as
to
He
a
Milk
smells though.
Bobby for having 10 sacks, and also Legacy Burfict for having 11 sacks.
In 5 in 1 game, which was a
Wow.
record.
That's
Wow.
wow. That's pretty impressive,
I
actually.
actually didn't know that.
In week 1, I think.
Okay.
Performance
Well,
of the year
I mean,
material.
getting ahead at the beginning. Alrighty, let's see who's gonna take it. And yep, it's
And it
going to
goes to
Legacy
Legacy.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Very
I mean,
good.
definitely a well-deserved one there. I think either him or Thomas really could have had it, but I think well-deserved.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Alrighty, those will bring us to defensive tackle of the year. Our nominees here are Doy Fieri, Timmy Dimby, Brent Silva, and Chuck Roth.
I have to say Chuck Roth, probably one of the most impressive stat lines here, just because, outside of tackling stats, he's got the forced fumble, 6 sacks, and a safety, which he's the only one here with a safety. So it's pretty important.
Yeah, personally, I think this is Roth's to lose because he has the safety, he has the fumble, and he leads all defensive tackles with sacks with 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then let's find out. Let's see if that impulse is correct. Yeah, Chuck Roth here. By a
Congratulations,
very
Chuck Roth.
healthy margin.
It's a very strong performance this season.
That safety
I wanna-
really pushed him over.
This is irrelevant to the award, but I want to give a shout out to Dorfieri for being the Philadelphia GM.
Yeah, congrats, man. That's
Which
not an
is-
easy thing to obtain, the GM position in ISFL, so
Mm-hmm.
very impressive.
Yes. Alrighty, this will bring us to defensive end of the year. Our nominees here are Sam Rose, Makoto Atawara, Ernest Lover, Primo Berto, and Etrigan T. Slayer.
So Ernest jumps out to me above everyone else because he has the most tackles by a little margin, but still the most tackles with 75. And he does have the most sacks with 8 sacks.
Yeah, Ernest definitely jumps out with a very impressive stat line, big numbers almost all across the board, and then the forced fumble. I do have to say it, Sam Rose, though, kind of sneaks in here with the 3 forced fumbles as well, and 20 tackles for loss, which is insane on his part, and then 6 sacks on top of that.
I mean, I'm always going to root for the Norfolk boy when I can, so Sam can have my vote. Let's
see.
Let's find out. And it is going to Ernest Lover. Pretty close though between the two, just a 4-point difference. But congratulations, Ernest Lover, defensive end of the year.
Yeah, both very great players.
Go Mojo Jojo.
Heck yeah.
Yes. Alrighty, this will bring us to offensive lineman of the year. We have 4 nominees here: Adam Malott, Mark Hamill, Connor Quigley, and Felix Archstone.
Okay, well, I can say it's not going to me, but what I can say is the biggest things to look at here is sacks allowed. Sure, Hamill's got 61, so Quigley's 52. But Quigley's the only one in this group that didn't allow a sack. That is insanity. So I'm biased here. I give it to him.
So the mindset that I would be put in personally, if I had to vote for this, is I would maybe vote for Hamill because he has the most pancakes. That, or I would vote for Quigley because he has allowed 0 sacks across the entire season, which is very impressive. So it honestly could go to either or of them.
Pretty much. Coin flip.
Yeah, personally, I always vote for. I look at 0 sacks allowed first and then go down, but I totally understand the pancake argument as well. So let's see which one won out this year. And it's Mark Hamill.
Ooh.
By 1 point.
By 1 point.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
honestly, though,
surprising.
it's fair. I feel like the gap for Hamill is just enough to say that sack allowed didn't matter. So, I mean, credit to him. That he had a pretty good season.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Alrighty.
Thank you for the 2 who voted for me, by the way. Sorry.
Now, our nominees here are Frank Mitchell, Jaja Ding Dong, Djibouti McJimmerson, and Thomas the Tank Engine.
All right. So first stat that really jumps out to me is Jaja's 34 pancakes, which is like 11 more than the second best. But he is lacking in touchdowns, which Frank Mitchell, if I'm looking at this right, completely has everyone beat on with 7. And 16 pancakes on himself. So a lot of things to look at here. A lot of things.
Yeah, Djibouti has 770 yards, which leads the tight end group here, and 4 touchdowns on the year. And while he does have sort of middle of the pack pancakes with 17, I think he does have a shot, certainly. Him and Frank Mitchell.
I mean, Mitchell has an amazing 10.1 yards average per catch, so, and 7 touchdowns on top. Lacking in the pancake regard, but as a wide receiver, tight end, he would be pretty much in the front.
I will say that Mitchell is the only one here that plays at wide receiver instead of at flex, which could be why Djibouti ends up getting votes. But
Makes sense.
I don't know.
Alrighty. Well, let's not hold out for suspense here. Let's see who's going to take it. And it's going to be Djibouti McJimmerson.
A wonderful render.
That is spectacular, truly spectacular.
Really well done.
Right,
But
well,
yeah, definitely had the
congratulations to
stat
Ruben
line
J.
to make a claim for this one. I feel like this award could have gone to basically anyone here. So it's really just what you preferred more as a voter.
Very fair. Alrighty, let's move on here to wide receiver of the year. Our nominees here see Quavius
Bex
Speedman
is
and
cutting
Mark
out,
Callis.
so I can read them again. Smile. Our nominees here are Mario Messi from Portland, Quavius McGrady from Tijuana, Zach Crossley from the newly named Bondi Beach Buccaneers, Tug Speedman from the London Royals, and Mark Callis from Dallas.
So Crossley has a 1,000-yard season, so good for him. And he's the only wide receiver in this group to have 1,000 yards to his name. But he is near the bottom when it comes to touchdowns, which could affect his voting. Mario Messi does lead the wide receiver group with 8 touchdowns and is second in this wide receiver group for yards at 886. So I could see this either going to Messi or Crossley, frankly.
Yeah, both really have a good claim for it. I kind of feel like I lean more Messi here just for the touchdowns alone. I do want to point out though, Mark Callis could have an argument here as well, because he's got 68 catches, which is lowest of the group, but he's third in reception of the group with 881 yards and 4 touchdowns with 13 average, which is really impressive considering the amount of catches he's had. So I think he could sneak in, but should probably go to Crossley or Messi.
Yeah, I
Alright.
think Crossley has it pretty nicely with the efficiency that he has. 77 receptions and over 1,000 yards. That's quite efficient.
Okay, let's find out. Messi
And he's going to
by
Messi.
one
Wow.
vote.
Tight.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, there have been a lot of
Everything
close ones.
seemed
tonight.
really tight. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Is my internet slightly better?
Yeah, you
Maybe?
sound good
Yeah.
now.
You sound great.
Cool. I don't know what was wrong, but I poked some buttons and now it's better. So
Cool.
we'll take it.
Good
In
stuff.
time for my favorite category, running back of the year. Our nominees here are Sergio Kitchens, Cobra Kai, Teriyaki, Mike Rochburns, and Darren Palma.
So, if you look at any one of these individuals, their stats are just off the charts. All of them are above 1,000 yards, which is frankly insane. So, you have to start really getting into the nitty gritty when it comes to who should be over who. So, Cobra Kai has 1,482 yards, and Rochburn has 1,488 yards. But Cobra Kai is leading this running back group with 5.3 yards per attempt. However, Rochburn does have 11 touchdowns, which leads this group. And Sergio Kitchens is the best receiver out of this group with 282 yards and 3 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, I feel like this section right here is the one I had the most trouble voting on because there's so many good cases by each player. I feel like I can see Cobra Kai just taking it though, mostly because when compared to Rochburn, he did more with less. Yeah, the 8 touchdowns is a little iffy, but it's not that big of a gap. 5.3 yard average, and he allowed 3 less sacks than Rochburn. Why both of them got 10 pancakes. So I feel like in the nitty gritty there, Cobra Kai should take this, but touchdowns could play a factor.
Yeah, this just comes down to whether the voters wanted efficiency or they wanted total stats.
Yeah,
Alrighty, well, let's see. And it's going to Cobra Kai.
All right,
definitely well
congratulations.
deserved. Very good stepping up in his first season and just kind of filling the role left by Zoe Watts, which is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the highlights on this Dallas offense, to be honest.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Alrighty. That'll bring us to quarterback of the year. Our nominees here are LeBron James III, Charlemagne Cortez, Ryan Neggs, and Jackie Daytona.
So, when you look at these stats, I would personally say that Daytona safely has this. He has the most yards with 2,972 yards. He has the best QB rating with 82. He does have the best ratio when it comes to touchdowns and interceptions with 19 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. And overall, he just seems like the better person out of this group of people.
Yeah, I feel like it would be really hard to make a case for anyone else when compared to Daytona season, because he was just absolutely dominant in every category. Even with interceptions, he ties Mike Boss at 7 for the lowest. So it's like it would be hard to give a reason as to why I'd lose. But I do want to
However,
give a shout out to Ryan Neggs and LeBron James, the two rookie quarterbacks here. They really play phenomenally, considering both scoring 13 touchdowns, all only allowing 13 and 12 interceptions, which for a rookie I'd say is pretty good. And both gained like 3 and 2 rushing touchdowns, so really efficient seasons from them. I would say the teams have to be proud about that one.
and not to say that Charlemagne Cortez didn't have a bad season, because he did have a really good season. It's just that Daytona has the edge over him with the QBR, with the yards, with the touchdowns and the interceptions.
Yeah, Cortez had a very great season. It's just like, yeah, it's one of those tough situations, but he definitely should be proud about how he played this year.
Daytona also has the same yards per carry as Cobra Kai,
Wow.
which means he's an equal good runner.
Crazy. Alrighty, let's find out who it is. I can't take it anymore. I need to know. And it is going to Jackie Daytona. It's a very, very strong non-football render year, and I'm loving it.
I think this is Daytona's second quarterback of the year. I'm not so sure.
No, I don't think so. He got a performance of the year last year.
Okay.
Ah,
Well, still congratulations to him, and congratulations to everyone else on this list for getting nominated.
Indeed. This will move us to our high distinctions categories. We have Offensive Rookie of the Year here with first nominee Ryan Neggs, as well as Mario Messi, LeBron James III, Cobra Kai, and Akil Ozymandias.
so I'd say probably Cobra Kai can take it here again, just because as far as running backs goes, he was very dominant. Um, I do want to say though, Akil Ozymandias was really efficient too. Kind of went under the radar, but over 1,000 yards rushing, and then 103 yards receiving, 7 touchdowns as well, and then 8 pancakes or 0 sacks allowed. Legitimately, he could be a contender, but um, yeah, I think it goes to Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I think so too, frankly. But Mario Messi did have a pretty good year as a rookie with an 800-yard season, 8 touchdowns, 10.1 average. And we have LeBron James III and Ryan Neggs, the two rookie quarterbacks who did have a great year as a rookie. So, personally, I think this could go to either Cobra Kai or Ozymandias.
Okay, well, let's find out. And it will be Cobra Kai, again by a fairly healthy margin.
Yeah, just once again, really efficient, a huge weapon for Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
This will bring us to our Defensive Rookie of the Year here. Our nominees are Mo Skeeter, Primo Berto, Makoto Atawara, Vincent Jones, and Ernest Lover.
Honestly, what a season for defensive rookies. Just looking at the stat line, like I feel like all of them could have a case, and all of them just played insanely. Mo Skeeter, Vincent Jones, Ernest, Ottawa, Berto. I mean, I feel like maybe Skeeter would have the biggest nod here, just because of the 2 touchdowns and pretty good stat line all around. But Ernest as well definitely has a case, and Vincent Jones could sneak in too. I mean, his stat line's pretty great. 9 sacks stands out to me, as long as a forced fumble, and an interception.
Personally, I think this could be between either Skeeter or Jones, because Jones has a lot more numbers in his stat line, implying that he's done a lot more out there on the field. But Skeeter does have those 2 touchdowns, which voters do like a lot. So we'll just have to see.
Well, only one of these players won their positional award, and that was Ernest Lover. So I'm gonna pick Ernest Lover here.
Alright, let's see. And it'll be Mo Skeeter.
And by a
Yeah,
pretty
that-
convincing margin, too.
Those 2 touchdowns really helped him out, I gotta say. So, I mean, yeah, you should be proud about this. It was a huge threat for Portland.
He did all of that with only one arm, which
I was
is
gonna say that.
astonishing.
Impressive feat. All right, this will bring us to Offensive Performance of the Year. Our nominees here are Mike Crotchburns in Week 10, Cobra Kai in Week 2, Jackie Daytona in Week 14, Sergio Kitchens in Week 4, and Mario Messi in Week 10. So how did these weeks go? Tell me about them.
So let's just start out with the 3 running backs on this list. So Kai, Kitchens, and Rochburn. Rochburn has the most touchdowns out of the 3, and it's literally 3-2-1. However, he doesn't have the most yards. Kai has more yards, but only has 1 touchdown. So from there, you got Daytona, who has 5 touchdowns in 1 game, which is insane, frankly. And Messi had a pretty good week as well, with 97 yards and 2 touchdowns with only 10 receptions. So really, this could go to any person on this list.
Yeah, when I was voting, I think that I sat here the longest just because there's so many good stat lines here to be picked, but barely anything separating some of them. But I'd have to say Daytona stands out more just because of the 5 touchdowns and 26 completions out of 38 passes is pretty good. That's only 12 incompletions, which, considering just how crazy he did, that's pretty impressive.
DSFL single game record for most passing touchdowns in a game. So
Really?
Well, there you
Wow.
go.
Okay,
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Let's see what
But
Well, then
happens.
he has my vote in that
yeah,
case.
And it
And
does
it
go to
is
Daytona.
Jackie Daytona.
Another convincing margin between him and Rochburns.
Indeed, indeed. This will bring us to Defensive Performance of the Year. Our nominees here are Thomas Rose in Week 7, Mo Skeeter in Week 11, Legazi Perfect in Week 8, and Donald McBobby in Week 1.
so I want to talk about Rose and Skeeter here because I feel like those two was where this would be most hotly contested. Rose had 4 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 interceptions in Week 7, and then Skeeter had 7 tackles, a sack, an interception, and a touchdown in Week 11. I feel that touchdown is really the make or break here because overall, Rose had more sacks, more turnovers, but Skeeter's got the touchdown. And that's, as we've seen in the past, a very tough thing to beat.
it's neither of those two. McBobby had a DSFL record for most sacks in a game with 5. If he doesn't win, I'll be very surprised.
Yeah, and with McBobby with 12 tackles, the 5 sacks, and the fumble recovery. Not too perfect though, because he has 13 tackles and 2 sacks, which is a very respectable stat line.
Yeah, I mean that's activity big time right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's see how it went. I think Bobby pulls
Well,
it
yeah.
out.
Bobby.
Frost is right. Yeah, the 5 sacks in one game is definitely an impressive stat line, and I mean, regardless of everything else, I mean, that's hard to beat. Sacks are not easy to come by in this league.
True.
All right.
Okay. Alrighty, this will bring us to General Manager of the Year. We have 3 here that have received votes. We have the GMs from London. I'm not quite sure. ABH89 and Maglubiat, maybe is how you pronounce. From Tijuana, we have Mithrandir and Swanky Pants. And then Glims and Simo from Kansas City.
ABH with 2 B's too.
Well, I'm not going to talk about my team, but I do want to say both London and Tijuana have just amazing environments all around, have done just an impressive job of building a culture, but also building successful teams around it. I don't know how they do it, what kind of magic. I've tried so hard to capture it, but they have an impact that almost can't be matched. So both really deserve it as a pair. They've done incredible jobs.
Kudos to Myth and Swanky for winning another Ultimity. Just good
For
for them,
sure.
really.
For sure. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what voters thought. And it's going to Myth and Swanky.
Yeah, well deserved.
One
Close
vote.
between them and London. Yeah.
Tijuana forever.
Limbs, you did great though.
I appreciate
Don't
it.
let that one vote take you down.
I mean, we didn't make playoffs, so that's fine. We'll save it for a year when we win.
Yeah, I mean every team's GMs do a really good job, but someone's got to win, So
Yep.
Indeed. This will bring us to Offensive Player of the Year. Our nominees here are Jackie Daytona, Zach Crossley, Mike Crotchburns, Mario Messi, and Cobra Kai.
Well, sorry, Cobra Kai versus Daytona is definitely an interesting storyline here, but I feel like Daytona still might win it out. As far as quarterbacks in DSFL go, I feel like this performance is just insane. I don't. It's hard. It's really hard to compare the two in a way, but that's who I'd have to give it to. It's Jackie Daytona.
Yeah, and let's note this wide receiver battle between Messi and Crossley. We mentioned in the past their competing stat lines with Crossley with over 1,000 yards and Messi with 8 touchdowns. So between those two, I honestly don't know who has the edge over them. But personally, I would say this could either go to Daytona or one of the running backs.
Yeah, Kai is gonna win this one, and Daytona is probably gonna win MVP.
I'd agree with that too, honestly.
That would for sure make sense. Let's find out if your theory's right. And yeah, Cobra Kai here winning Offensive Player of the Year.
Good job,
Okay.
Cobra.
Congratulations, Cobra
Yeah.
Kai. You are kicking butt this award season.
Cobra is
I
getting
wanna
a lot
say-
of hardware this season.
If Kai stays down the DSFL, I will be scared. Dallas is
Yeah.
building a team over there, and I do not want to see them just steamroll us. But hey, who knows?
Alrighty. This will move us to Defensive Player of the Year. Our nominees here are Thomas Rose, Damian Blackfire, Legacy Perfect, and Mo Skeeter.
All right, well, Legacy leads this group of individuals with 139 tackles. But going back to Blackfire, he does have some flashy stats, such as the blocked punt, 5 interceptions, and 3 fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. I might give it to Blackfire here, honestly.
Yeah, Blackfire did win the positional award. I'm pretty sure. No, that was yeah. Blackfire just all around very impressive. It'd be hard to say which linebacker can really come in and compete against them, and you got Mosquito there who did lose some earlier, but I feel Blackfire's probably got this safely locked.
Yeah.
All things considered.
all right, let's find out.
And it goes to Legacy.
Wow, Blackfire's last. Okay.
Wow, that's just unfortunate.
Interesting.
But still, I feel like we had some really good candidates for this award. Perfect
Yeah.
had a really great season, so I mean, kudos to him. I'm not too shocked that he won it. And then Thomas Rose, Mosquito as well, just really impressive players this season.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. This will bring us to our DSFL Most Dedicated Member Award. This is to celebrate folks who are coming into the league and making a really big initial impact. We have 2 nominees this year. We have Wonderful Art and Dogwood Maple.
Gosh, not enough can be said about these users, honestly. Wonderful Art has made some of the most impressive statistical pieces using like the simulation and Python, and then his rookie analysis with Portal at the beginning of the season. He's really contributed all around, and even in KC, he's done a lot of work with Slate on various things, and he's been a leader of the team, I'd argue to say. But then, Dogwood Maple, the media god, some would call him probably. He's in every LR constantly. One of the most chat active users I've seen, and he's just a really impressive user all around as well.
And he's a
I'm real-
Bulldogs fan, which makes him even higher.
I am impressed by these 2 new users, and I am frankly hopeful for the future of this league with these 2 currently already making a splash in this league.
For sure. Alrighty, well, let's see who we're celebrating this year as our most dedicated member in the DSFL. It'll be Wonderful Art. Congratulations.
Well deserved, Art. Thank you for everything you've done this season for KC and the league in general.
And thank you, Dogwood, as well. Even though you
Yeah.
didn't win this, you're still a very good contributing member to this league.
You've made media fun again.
Awesome, and now we're moving on to Most Valuable Player. And the nominees are Thomas Rose from Kansas City, Mike Rochburns from Minnesota, Jackie Daytona from Bondi Beach, Legacy Burfiths, whatever, from London, and Cobra Kai from Dallas.
All right. Well, Daytona didn't win Offensive Player of the Year, so I'm inclined to say that Daytona is going to win Most Valuable Player.
Yeah, it's his to lose. Honestly, I don't know how he wouldn't win it, but yeah, this is a really good list of players.
We've
Props to
already
all of them.
said a lot about these players,
Yeah.
and all 5 of these players have just been straight studs this season, and they're going to go far in the ISFL personally. But I think Daytona has just had an incredible season, and I think that he should be getting Most Valuable Player.
All right.
Yep.
Well,
Let's find
Yes.
out. And yep,
And it goes to
Jackie
him.
Daytona.
yeah.
Good stuff.
Great, wonderful time. Woohoo.
Congratulations.
On to the ISFL.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, so for our first ISFL award, we'll be here with Returner of the Year. Our nominees are Flash Panda, Raptalia Chan, Kyo Kane Maikai,
Just say
maybe,
KKM.
Mason Blaylock, and Kuko Clemente.
So let's just look at the stats for a second, and we have all of them did really, really well in the return game. Stats that are showing that is like we have 2 punt return touchdowns for KKM. No, not KKM, sorry. I have Mason Blaylock and Flash Panda. Each one, and Coco Clement and Mason Blaylock have the kick return touchdowns. I think this is really hard. Like, if you're voting only touchdowns, you have Coco Clemente from Sarasota with the 2 kick return touchdowns as a leader. But it could go either way there because all of them did really great in punt and kick returns. So I don't even know who I would vote for here.
With absolutely zero bias, Raftalia Chan should win this one with
Of course, zero bias.
zero bias.
No
Is a kick return touchdown and a punt return touchdown, and is the best punt returner by far.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, this random player was 2 yards off of breaking a return record that has been alive since season 3. 2 yards, which is pretty nice.
I agree with Frost Lamap.
Well,
All right.
let's find out.
Oh,
And it goes to KKM. Wow.
I mean, you have to say he did a lot of things especially when the offense was struggling. He helped pull Honolulu out a lot of the times.
Yes,
Totally
he was a very
unbiased here.
efficient runner. He was a very
Yes.
efficient runner.
Heck yeah.
Alrighty, let's move on here to Punter of the Year.
Pain.
Our nominees here are Matthew McDermott, Jacob Smalls, Dougie Smalls, and Alex D.
Well, we bought Rotson, so we could say the last name.
Perfect.
Alex, das ist wirklich ein Nachname. Yes, there we go.
Imagine being German.
Can I just get a recording of that so that whenever his name comes up, I can just press play and just have that?
You just have to get me in every stream where he's called.
Perfect. Alrighty, talk to me about the punting stats in the ISFL.
Both do kick ball good. All of them. all 4 of them. But to be honest, we have some of the standout stats here is McDermott with the longest punt, but only 13 inside the 20. We have Smalls and Jacob Small, both Smalls with a lot of punts inside 20. It's so hard for me to evaluate these punts in the sim, especially because a lot of the times it's really important to tag them down. So for me, it would be Jacob Small because he has 25 inside 20, even though his longest punt is not that long.
I would say Dougie Smalls. He had the most punts by quite a bit and was still able to have a 47.2 average.
That's true, yeah.
Which is significantly better than Jacob Small and just barely worse than McDermott.
Okay, well, let's see who we're awarding this year. It'll be Dougie Smalls. Not a super far off vote. 34 for Dougie and 30 for Jacob, so pretty close. We'll transition into kickers. Our nominees here are Blago Coco, Carmichael Hunt, Jake Fensick, Venus Powers, and Matthew McDermott.
I have to be slightly biased here when I say Venus Powers had one of the best kickers performances I've ever seen. And I haven't seen that many yet, but there were 100% extra points, 35 or 36 for field goals. I know Baron didn't have the longest kicks of all the people, but the percentage is crazy compared to the other people on there. In my opinion, this should totally go to Venus Powers.
Hopping in here and jumping off of what Roth said, 49 out of 49 extra points made. 49 over the season. That is impressive.
Yeah, I'll be very surprised if Powers loses this.
Let's see how impressive it was. Very.
Yes.
Oh, good
Oh,
lord.
yeah.
Indeed.
That's insane, but insanely deserved as well. Congratulations, Venus Powers. So bring us on to Safety of the Year. Our nominees are Mason Blaylock, Maverick Bowie, Prince Vegeta, Tyron Biggums, and Joel Drake.
Still looking. Give me a second. There we go. Oh. Yeah, we have Mason Blaylock with 87 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, 7 sacks, 5 ins, and a lot of good pass defenses. And I will read every stats now because it will take us ages. But some of the highlights are Joel Drake with 133 tackles and 19 PDs, and Tyron Biggums with 129 tackles and 10 PDs and 4 ins and 7 sacks. So, as with all the races here, this is for me really close between Drake and Biggums, mostly because they have a lot of versatile stats all over the board. Especially Biggums for me with the 7 sacks, still a high amount of tackles, still a good amount of PDs and 4 ins would be my leader here.
I mean,
I'm gonna throw Vegeta, whatever his name is, name in there because he had 5 picks, 4 sacks, and 3
yeah.
touchdowns on defense.
Yeah, that's
which
true. Touchdowns
is more
make
than
people
more
bold.
than some offensive players get.
also, Maverick Bowie had a nice 5 forced fumbles. So that's pretty cool.
No touchdowns, and you only win with touchdowns. Come on.
Also,
Drake's a
Mason
rookie, right?
Blaylock plays for New Orleans, so
Drake's a rookie, right?
I
Or
have
is
no
he a
idea.
second year?
He is a send down rookie.
Okay, so he just casually went off this season as a rookie. So, just
And
throwing that out there.
Bowie is also a rookie. So there are 2 rookies on this list.
So good for those two.
Indeed. All right, let's find out. And it's going to Prince Vegeta by a pretty good margin here.
Touchdown bias.
Touchdown
probably
bias
because
is
he
real
has
in our
3
voting
defensive tackles.
Touchdown
population.
bias.
It
Bias.
is. That's true.
I will say though, that was a really impressive streak by Vegeta early on in the season when he just kept scoring every game.
I mean, he did
So-
have 5 interceptions as well, and tying that up with Blaylock.
Yeah.
So, good for him.
Indeed. Let's move on
Jeff
here
sucks though.
to cornerback of the year. Our nominees are Mervyn Leonard, Tyler Oles Jr., Andrew Witten, Cuco Clemente, and Osiris Firestorm Fjord.
So-
This is. Oh no, you can
Sorry.
go, Ross.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Tyler Oles has 5 picks and 27 pass deflections. He's second in pass deflections, and the guy that's in front of him has 4 less picks. So I would just. This is definitely Tyler Oles' one to lose.
Yeah, I totally agree there. I mean, we again have 1 blocked punt, which is very high on my personal list, but with Cuco Clemente.
Andrew Witten has a touchdown though, so
Yeah, but I love blocked punts.
Touchdown bias. All right, let's see what happens.
Let's see. And it's going to Oles by a good amount. Congratulations.
Yeah.
No one
Rob
cares
says
for
those
blocked punts.
interceptions.
I
Good for
know.
him.
Last.
This will bring us to Linebacker of the Year. Our nominees are Hingle McCringleberry, Melvin Murdermoose, Hank Winchester, Haha Mango Panda, and Galf Wilf.
We have two players here with two defensive touchdowns, and I know Melvin Murdermoose is a rookie, like in the ISFL, so this is very impressive with 4 ints, 19 PDs, and 2 defensive touchdowns. Same with Klingberry, he has also 2 defensive touchdowns and a lot, also 8 sacks and flashy plays all over the board. Like, not really a lot of high plays in one category, but pretty good all over the board, especially with 120 tackles. And of course, Hank Winchester, fellow season 25 with 154 tackles, which is also very crazy. And I'm not salty at all because my linebackers suck this year.
Galf Wolf had 20 sacks and 3 picks, which this will definitely prove if defensive touchdown bias is real, because 20 sacks is
Yeah.
really insanely good, and
Good
it's
lord,
6
20
above the
sacks.
next guy on this list.
As a linebacker, even on top. Like,
That is just
And just
impressive.
for the not a paper in the chat, this is Galf Wolf's one to lose.
Yes, excellent. Let's find out who's the winner here. Galf Wilf, indeed, by a good margin here. I believe I went with Galf Wilf when I was voting, just because I did see that sack number and was blown away.
yeah. It's sack bias now.
This will bring us to Defensive Tackle of the Year. Our nominees are Bubba Thumper, Claude Miller II, Big Ed, Damon Brooks, and Pete Miller.
Is the chat already writing Go Tank? No? Okay. Will be soon, probably.
Yep.
Oh,
here
there it
comes.
is.
There it is.
Okay, I see it. Okay.
My best friend bias says Bubba Thumper.
Well, your
but
best friend bias is incorrect.
I know.
Ooh.
It usually is.
I mean, the sack bias would say it, but I can also see Go Tank because Go Tank. And it's a great season for a first year DT in the league.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Cloud Miller doesn't have the most sacks, but he does have 11 tackles for loss at defensive tackle, which is more than double the guy with the second most TFLs. And he's only 3 behind in sacks, but he has 10 more TFLs than Thumper. So I'm gonna say that Miller should probably take this one home.
Well, let's find out. Woohoo!
And indeed.
Yes.
Good for
Rip
Claude.
Big Ed's chances at a 3-peat.
R.I.P. Big Ed.
This will bring us to Defensive End of the Year. Our nominees are Emmanuel Blackstone, Vaughn Hayes, Stecco Alswilder, Nero Alexander, and Rapid Eagle.
Emmanuel Blackstone, the Honolulu legend, with 1 blocked punt here. Never forget. Otherwise, we have a pretty even field with Vaughn Hayes with a lot of sacks. 10 sacks, 1 safety. I love the safety on there because we don't see it very often in the sim. So I think that's from the game that had 2 safeties, but I can't remember right now. So
And
10 sacks.
When Rock said even, he meant Nero Alexander. Because Nero Alexander has 23 tackles for loss and 7 sacks, which is 30 tackles behind the line of scrimmage, which is pretty much unheard of.
And I say even, I mean even. Even if the numbers are weird.
I mean, do the math.
Let's.
And the most tackles as well.
Heck yeah, I love tackles. So let's see how it panned out. Frost is right.
Frost is always right.
Good for
It's
Nero.
true. Except for my own player.
Wow.
He leads others to treasures he cannot obtain himself.
Congrats, Alexander.
Indeed. This will bring us to Offensive Lineman of the Year. Our nominees are Bruce Buckley, Douglas Quayle, Icebox Repost, Simon Tremblay, and Give Us a Fair Rub.
Do love fair rubs.
Everyone
Um,
loves
Love
fair
favorites.
ups.
I love that there are more than like 2 or 3 nominees, because in the early years of this award, there were only 2 offensive line people who weren't bots. So that's the real winners are all of the human O line out there in the league because you're making me very happy.
yeah, God, Bex, that's season 18. Jeez, what a boomer.
Interjecting in here, I say that this award will probably go to the person who does not have any sacks allowed.
Yeah,
So I'm
that's
sorry, Tremblay. I'm sorry, Riposte. You guys both have 2 sacks allowed in the season. While Tremblay does have 95 pancakes.
But it's Simon.
Yeah, but it's Simon. I mean,
Yeah, but it's Douglas Quill with 93 pancakes and
Yeah,
at the same time having
Douglas.
0 sacks allowed.
Douglas should probably
Y'all,
win this one.
y'all calling Bex a boomer for being here in S18? What the heck?
I'm old now,
You know
according
I'm
to the
here.
public.
You know I'm in this chat.
Thank
Well,
you, true boomer.
Yeah,
let's
season
see.
18.
Let's see who
Jeez.
gives us the fairest of rubs. Douglas
I
Quayle.
was right.
Indeed, indeed.
Wow.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right, congratulations.
Okay, this will bring us to tight end of the year. Our nominees are Austin McCormick, Heath Evans, Jeffrey Phillips, and James Angler.
The tightest events.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. We had. Let me just find it. I'm too blind today. Jeffrey Phillips with 1,367 yards is leading easily. I don't have yards per catch here, sadly, but with 90 receptions, it's not that many catches more. 12 touchdowns, 26 pancakes. Was quite the season from Jeffrey Phillips on a really great Orange County team. Otherwise, we have the next best in yards is James Angler, 85 receptions, 1,205 yards, only 5 TDs. So the drop off here is pretty hard. So for me, it's should be clear with Jeffrey Phillips and his 12 touchdowns and his huge amount of yards.
They took away the rule for the tight end stuff, so the people that played at wide receiver are now eligible for tight end, which that's why Phillips and Angler's stats are so much above the other guys.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
this is
Touchdown
probably
bias.
Heck,
this
touchdown
is almost
bias.
definitely gonna go to Jeffrey Phillips.
Heck yeah. Let's see if Frost is clairvoyant once again. He is.
Yes.
Wow, wow, wow.
I said it first.
One single
One.
vote for Austin McCormick.
Ross can take credit.
Yeah.
Indeed.
One single vote for Austin McCormick. Ping.
Congrats to Jeffrey.
Congrats to all 4 of you,
Phillips.
though.
Heck yeah.
Alrighty, this will bring us to wide receiver of the year. Our nominees are William Lim, Jed Podolak, Michael Witteblock, Jackson Kingston, and Doug Howlett.
I have to say that we have 3 wide receivers with each 15 touchdowns here. So that's quite a lot of touchdowns. And all 3 of them close to the 1,500 yards, with William Lim having the most. Otherwise, we have Doug Howlett, who has the most yards of everyone with the list, but also has the most receptions with 102. So I think it's close if the voters either vote for efficiency or just simple amount of touchdowns.
I don't know how it is for the rest, by the way, but Howlett was a rookie this season, and I think those kind of numbers by rookie is insane.
Yeah.
If it's simply efficiency, it would probably be Podolak with 80 receptions and 1,277 yards and 15 touchdowns, which is quite an efficient season from him.
Podolak was a very important cornerstone of the Honolulu offense.
Oh, yeah.
So putting up those numbers was huge for us.
Heck yeah.
Indeed. Alright, let's see. And it's going to Doug Howlett.
That was close.
By
Very
yeah,
close.
just a couple of votes. Yes, very good.
Say his renders DK Metcalf, so I'm kind of confused on the rugby player.
All right. So bring us to a running back of the year. Our nominees are Tatsu Nakamura, Richard Gilbert, Zoe Watts, Ashley Owens, and Jamar Laxon.
Pain.
Yep. Pain indeed. But talk to me about these running backs. Who are we thinking deserves this one?
We have. Let me check the touchdowns. We have all of them with good touchdown numbers, except like running touchdowns, except Ashley Owens, who only has 6, but also 14 pancakes on the other hand. Jamal Lexon has great numbers, same as Ashley Owens, who probably did a lot of on that New York Silverbacks offense with over 1,500 yards and a lot of
Which is
carries.
insane.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
literally insane.
Also, like on top of that, you add 500 yards in the air, which is like a over 2,000 yard season, which is crazy.
He broke the record for the most scrimmage
Yeah.
yards in a season, I think.
Has a lot less
That's
touchdowns
over
than some of the
2,000
others.
scrimmage yards.
Yeah.
No,
Over-
he returned. He returned, so it's like 3,600, I think.
So-
Insane.
For me, it would be Ashley Owens simply because that's one versatile running back. But I can
Nope.
see people voting generally for more touchdowns.
I would say Jamar
also-
Laxon, but he hated Monty Jack and allowed 8 sacks.
Yeah. That's a lot of sex allowed.
All right,
mean-
let's see how it played out, though. Ashley Owens.
Good
Yeah.
old Ashley Owens.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Crazy
Congratulations.
season. Totally earned.
Is appropriately Christian McCaffrey as his render.
Yes, indeed. All right. Someone read this out because I'm about to sneeze.
Okay. For
Bless you.
quarterback of the year, our nominees are Suleiman Ramza from Orange County, Brock Phoenix from Philadelphia, Dexter Banks II from Sarasota, Wolfie McDummy from Colorado, and JQ from Arizona. Give me a
will
little
miss
bit
you,
about him.
Wolfie. We will miss you, Wolfie. Like, I will start off with Dexter Banks because he started off the season kind of slowish, which I know because I had him in fantasy, and I'm still salty about the beginning of the season. But he picked off crazily a little bit
finished
later.
well.
Oh yeah, and like has the most touchdowns here. Good interception numbers still, great rating, and he ran 3 touchdowns in on top of his 33 crazy passing touchdowns.
I like how Q just casually got over 600 rushing yards.
Oh yeah,
So good for him.
also 4,800 yards with Banks in the air and 340 on the ground, which is also like over
Personally,
5,000.
If I voted in this, I would probably give it to Banks because he has performed the best, I would say, out of these quarterbacks. Close to him, I would say Wolfie has a case. If you want to account for Q's rushing yards, he has a case. But yeah,
I mean, Ramza took over for a GOAT QB kind of, and
Yeah.
still had a really, really great season last year.
Yeah.
So
but those interceptions,
yeah,
I mean, he is a rookie. You got to
Yeah.
give him some credit.
yes,
All right.
He'll
Well,
definitely
let's-
improve as he goes up.
See which QB wins. Dexter
Dexter
Banks.
Banks.
Congratulations to Banks.
Congratulations.
Indeed, indeed.
Robbie Anderson holding the football.
Very
This-
cool.
This will bring us to Offensive Breakout Player of the Year. Our nominees here are Jackson Kingston, James Lewandowski, Richard Gilbert, Vidal San, and Brock Phoenix.
So I know that Vidal San Fowler was really campaigning for Offensive Breakout of the Year. So the improvement from last season to this season is very good. He does have over 1,000 yards. He has 7 touchdowns, so good for him. Kingston, however, does have the edge over him because he has more yards at 1,300 yards and more touchdowns at 15 touchdowns. So between those, I would probably give it to Kingston. But Phoenix is also has a pretty good case with Pretty good touchdown to interception ratio at 28-8. Pretty good passer rating, over 4,000 yards in the air and 500 yards on the ground. Gilbert barely squeaked over 1,000 yards on the ground with 11 touchdowns and did pretty good for receiving stats. So, frankly, I could see this going anywhere.
I think this
Also,
is wide open.
yeah, shout outs to Lewandowski, by the way. I'm sorry.
So here's the thing. It's breakout player of the year. And all the other players, they existed and they had some decent seasons under their belt. Lewandowski had nothing. He was an irrelevant tight end, and he suddenly became a a really good receiver on Baltimore's offense. And he went from nobody to one of the top tight ends in the league.
Yeah.
So I just want to give that shout out.
wanted to add some words for Lewandowski too, because I think the others are all like very staple names in a way, but Lewandowski really came out this season and kind of made his mark, and it was very impressive, very reliable target for Baltimore all season long, and a blocker as well, and that's only going to get better, I feel. So, just a really good season by him.
All right, let's see what the voters thought here. And it's going to Jackson Kingston by a factor of 8 votes. Yeah, congratulations indeed.
Go Julio.
Yeah.
This will bring us to Defensive Breakout Player of the Year. Our nominees are Heinrich Kakpu, Kuko Clemente, Vaughn Hayes, Jack Banks, and Claude Miller II.
All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump in on this. Heinrich Kakpu, 131 touchdowns. Not touchdowns, tackles. But he does have one defensive touchdown. Yeah, that would have been really impressive. Also, with Jack Banks, he has over 100 tackles, 16 pass deflections, but 15 sacks by Banks. That's pretty good. On the line in the trenches, you got Claude Miller II, 71 tackles. We've already talked about him, but 71 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, and 8 sacks. And Kuko Clemente with 69 tackles, 5 interceptions, 19 passes deflected, and a blocked punt.
So Vaughn Hayes used to be a tight end, and then he swapped to defensive end and had a very good season. But I'm gonna have a little bit of Sarasota bias and say that Clemente should get this, because he went from a defensive tackle that had like 4 sacks a season and nothing else, and now he was a cornerback of the year candidate with 5 picks and a blocked punt.
I'm not going to give any Honolulu bias, but I will say that defensive touchdown does give him a boost in this voting.
All right. Let's see what's up.
Jack Banks.
Congratulations to him. Good for him.
Great season.
First overall expansion. So it's a good pick for the New York there.
Former
Yes,
Honolulu.
indeed. Definitely paying off for them. This will bring us to Offensive Rookie of the Year. Our nominees here are Doug Howlett, Zoe Watts, Dave Batista, Sam Howitzer, and Suleiman Ramza.
I mean, we talked about how great Howlett and Ramza their seasons were. Same Howitzer did a lot on that New York Silverbacks team with Zoe Watts coming in and having also a great season in Austin for their first year up in the ISFL with only 2 seasons down in the DSFL. But I would probably say, seeing how well Howlett did, that it's either him or Suleiman.
Yeah, so picking back off of that, I would personally say that Howlett could have the edge over Ramza because having over 1,600 yards and 11 touchdowns is insane. But a nod to Zoe Watts for getting over 1,000 yards on her rookie year, which is something I could never do. And she does have 11 touchdowns on the year, so good for her.
Stay Ramza because he took over for Armstrong, and that offense remained elite. And they went, I think, 11 and 5, 12 and 3 or something. So they with a rookie Q, he led the team to second best record in the league as a rookie. So and with a really good season as well. So I'm gonna say it's probably should go to Ramza here.
I mean, Howlett broke all the rookie receiving records, so but let's just see
That is
see
also
Let's see
what's
what
up.
winners thought. Yeah. Indeed, going to Doug Howlett by a very healthy margin there.
That's two
Second.
pieces of hardware for him tonight, I believe. Good for
Rips
him.
it up.
Very earned, yes. Great season.
Perfect. This will bring us to Defensive Rookie of the Year. Our nominees are Joel Drake, Maverick Bowie, Tayshawn Crunk, Hank Winchester, and Melvin Murdermoose.
I mean, when you look at the stats and at the beginning of the season and you looked at what Crunk did in every game, it was crazy. Like, it calmed down a little bit later in the season, but in the beginning, he had flashy stats every game and immense big numbers. So if he had continued this way, it wouldn't have been any question. But right now, with Winchester being a true rookie, and all the other rookies who did amazing things, like, it's really hard to say. But Hank Winchester, for me, with his 154 tackles and a fellow linebacker, it's my own linebacker bias.
and he's the only season 25 rookie too.
Yeah.
Which-
Now Crunk is as well, I think.
yeah, he is. Never mind then.
Murder Moose with 2 defensive touchdowns and 10 sacks.
Yeah, she did
And
well.
also, I believe leads or ties the lead with this group for 19 pass deflections as a linebacker compared to Drake, who's a safety. That's
Sure.
really good.
Well,
Let's
let's
see.
And Drake also
see
has
how
133 tackles.
it turned out.
A lot of good seasons.
Melvin
Murder
Murdermoose
Moose.
is
Render,
your
Jesus.
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
That's beautiful.
I had this one spoiled
I'm
for
scared.
me because Moosey made this art for it, and it makes me so happy that the league gets to have wonderful, wonderful things like this. Congrats to Schwarz. Well deserved.
That's beautiful.
This will bring us to Offensive Performance of the Year. Our nominees here are KKM in week 2, Richard Gilbert in week 5, Suleiman Ramza in week 3, Ed Barker in week 6, and Dexter Banks II in week 10.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly jump in here. I'm just going to go ahead and take a nod to my coworker, KKM, casually getting, 180 scrimmage yards and 4 touchdowns, 3 on the ground and 1 in the air, around 5 yards per carry. Like, come on.
It was a crazy game. Like, or Dexter Banks with his 5 touchdown game with a 153.8 rating.
Basically perfect, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the
Is-
perfect rating. 0 int, 300 yards in the air, 20 of 26. That's one hell of a game there.
with 34 rushing yards as well.
And then comparing him to Ramza was over 300 as well, 350 with 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions and 134.8 passer rating. I mean, between the two quarterbacks, it's kind of a contentious sort of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's see how it panned out.
Banks is
KKM.
By one vote.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Nice.
I mean, it was hell of a game.
Yes, it was a hell of a game.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right, this will bring us to Defensive Performance of the Year. Our nominees are Prince Vegeta in week 4, Heinrich Kakpu in week 4, Melvin Murdermoose in week 15, Galf Wolf in week 10, and Tyrone Shields in week 2.
I have to quickly jump in here and say Heinrich Kakpu's 13 tackle, 2 tackle for loss, 2 sack, 2 pass defensive, 1 int, and 1 defensive touchdown game in week 4 was amazing. Like, it all over the board stat wise. And 13 tackles on top. May not be like the biggest in each category, but altogether one hell of a game.
Yeah, it's a very good game, but it's gonna go to Prince VeggieTales here.
Yes.
He had 3 picks and 2 touchdowns. That's
I just had to point it out.
that's gonna be hard to beat.
Well,
Between Vegeta and Kakpu.
let's see
Personally.
if the prince can become a king. He can.
Over 50 votes.
That's, yeah,
Good for him.
good
All right,
stuff. Good
congratulations.
stuff. Congratulations, yeah.
Very
Yeah, he still
nice.
sucks though.
This will bring us to General Manager of the Year. Lots of different folks got votes, but our top 3 here that received votes and went to the runoff were Frostbite and Sacrosanct of Sarasota, Laser and Jeffy of Orange County, and of course our GMs for the Ultimus winning team, CK Royal and Radam.
Not just Ultimus winning, but
Back to
back-to-back Ultimus winning, which could give them
Who
the
voted for
edge.
Sarasota? Jeez.
How
Which could
keep
give them
they
the edge
doing it?
over these 3 pairs. Sarasota, Frost, regardless of what happened these past 2 seasons, you are still a wonderful GM. You and Sacrosanct have been doing something magical back there at Sarasota, regardless of if you've been winning or how your playoffs have been going. And Laser and Jeffy dealing with a rookie quarterback still did wonderful and took the once thought to be aging and geriatric Otters to another conference championship.
And the
Same
Derp
time-
Cats just
Yeah,
they
bring out the Derp
continue
Cats.
to win.
How?
There's no luck involved. It's all amazing San Jose.
All right, let's see who's taking it home. And indeed, 12 votes for CK and
Frost, how does it feel
Rad.
to have like you be the only vote for you two?
No, I didn't. I voted for OCL.
No.
Welcome to the
All right.
club, Frost.
All right. Well, congratulations to CK Royal and Radam.
Indeed. This will bring us to Offensive Player of the Year. Our nominees here are William Lim, Dexter Banks II, Doug Howlett, Wolfie McDummy, and Ashley Owens.
I think we said most about all of these players already anyway in each category. We have Dexter Banks who won his category, Ashley Owens, and Doug Howlett. So it's hard to say, especially with this QB, RB, wide receiver mix-ups, but I would still personally give it to Banks.
So I would personally say this: OPOY is going to go to McDummy, and Banks is going to get MVP. But someone else, such as Howlett or Phillips, will be getting Offensive Player of the Year. We'll have to see.
I don't think,
think-
Phillips is a
Yeah,
nominee,
he's
but
not even here.
No,
Oh, all right.
he's in the
I-
list, but not here.
Yeah.
I think
Phillips
that,
is a nominee.
Yeah.
he didn't get any votes, so he's not.
I
here.
see.
I think that this is Owens or McDummy here, and then Banks probably will take MVP.
Yeah. I hate to agree with Frost again, but I do.
well, let's see how it panned out.
Ashley Owens.
He does go to
Owens.
Owens.
Nice.
Okay.
Yes,
Alrighty.
indeed. This will bring us to Defensive Player of the Year. Our nominees are Mason Blaylock, Nero Alexander, Prince Vegeta, Galf Wilf, and Hingle McCringleberry.
So I personally think this is either going to go to McCringleberry or Wilf. McCringleberry doesn't have the highest of stats, but he has a lot more things. He does have those 2 defensive touchdowns. He does have 8 sacks. He does have 120 tackles.
I see it
Yes.
going to Wolf again because 20 sacks is still crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And also
Wolf
giving a little bit of
just-
sugar to Virginia, who got 3 defensive touchdowns.
All right. Let's
Took a second.
see what happens.
Galf Wilf, indeed. You can't argue with those sack numbers. You just really
Yeah.
can't.
20 sacks.
Nearly unanimous.
Mm.
Jeez.
Congratulations.
Indeed.
Really
I would like to take a
unanimous.
moment to say congratulations to Run, who is currently dying in the chat about his wins, because I love that a lot. I'm glad that he's so happy about things. Cool. we can move on here. This will bring us to most dedicated member, celebrating those people who have made contributions to the league that deserve high recognition. Our nominees this year are JPOC, who does so much. You're currently a rookie mentor, even though you're departing. You're the DSFL simmer. You're a ISFL head office intern. You're the head of the sim transfer team. You do all the things. You button click every off season. You help with the charity stuff. You like. I don't know how you have time for anything else some days. We also have Rots, who's also on stream here with us, who has been doing amazing work in redesigning some of the team's logos and color schemes. He's also an ISFL head office intern who has recently been promoted to a full member of head office. So doing tons of great work in head office as well. And then our final nominee is ManicMav36, who is our ISFL simmer. He's also the head of our appeals team. So we keep him very, very busy, both with sim stuff and general league matters.
So regardless of who wins this award, all three of you genuinely thank you for all the work that you do for the sim. Like, you guys are volunteers. You're not getting paid to do this. You guys are actually going out of your way, taking time out of your day to do this for us. So regardless of who wins, JPAC, Rots, or Manic, thank you guys so much.
Yep. I love every single one of these nominees. They're also all part of the sim team, so I get to hang out with them on a regular basis, which I love. They're all just fantastic people as well, and I know that they've definitely made my time in the league much, much brighter, and so I hope that's been other folks' experiences as
And
well.
also, another side note, if you didn't get up here tonight, regardless of like whatever positional awards or most dedicated member, you still had a great season, regardless of what numbers you did or what you did for the league in general.
And make sure to DM Faded with any complaints.
Yes.
All right.
Yell at me as much as
All
possible.
right, let's see who our most dedicated member winner is this year. It's the best Hexagon boy. JPAC is the most dedicated member.
In all sim leagues.
Congratulations.
That button
Any
clicker.
words?
Thanks.
Speech.
I was really hoping for the runner-up three-peat, but it's all right.
All right, well, congratulations.
Very,
buddy.
very, 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 very deserved, in my opinion. So cool. This will bring us to the illustrious Most Valuable Player Award now. Our nominees are Ashley Owens, Galf Wilf, Dexter Banks II, Mason Blaylock, and Wolfie McDummy.
Banks. Change my mind.
Banks. Don't change my mind because Banks.
I think Banks is like...
Yeah, Wilf and Owens both won the defensive player and offensive players,
so they're not eligible.
And then McDummy lost to Banks in the QB one. So
if this does not go to Banks, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, but Blaylock plays for New Orleans, so okay, let's see what happens.
I'm not sure how he made it on there, but like
me neither. But I love him, so
indeed, and it's going to Mr. Banks.
He got 2 votes.
All right, congratulations to Banks.
Yeah,
another MVP season.
Very nice, and that's the end of our awards.
Oh, an MVP season.
Yeah. Indeed. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you to our graphics folk who made the presentation. Congratulations to all of our many winners. We hope that you enjoy having the bragging rights for those awards for the season. If you're interested in more off-season content, we have our ISFL draft stream on Friday. We have the Prospect Bowl for our season 27 class Tuesday next week.
Correct.
I think.
Maybe.
Yeah. And then we have our DSFL draft next week as well. So yeah, we'll be back on this channel for that. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I know that I'll send you a reminder in Gen Chat, but you know, it never hurts to inflate my ego and increase our subscriber count. Once again, thank you for all of our hosts for joining us, and we will say thank you and good night.
This award show is filmed in front of a live studio audience.